Hello, sisters. Whoa. You've made me so happy this evening. I've not had so much fun in a long time. I just want to thank Representative Dingo, and I want to thank, I'm so overcome, I want to thank Carolyn Carter, Stephanie O'Keefe, all of you in IWF for this beautiful night and for the wonderful video you just showed. I have to admit that when I see introductions about myself, I always feel a bit strange. And I wonder, is that really me? But it's an incredible honor to be inducted into the IWF Hall of Fame. I'm humbled to be walking in the footsteps of the women we just saw, Coretta Scott King, Ella Fitzgerald, Hillary Clinton, my friend and co-author Julia Gillard, my sister Pumzile Mlambo-Nguka, and someone who has been an inspiration and example for me for decades, Ma Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Nobel laureates, athletes, astronauts, scientists, authors, CEOs, artists, political leaders. For nearly 50 years, the IWF has helped women support women. Networks are important, and mentors and role models matter, especially when you're not part of the old boys network. So I want to thank the IWF team for the work they have done and continue to do to advance women's leadership and pursue greater gender equality at the top of all professional sectors. I feel very grateful to be part of all this. I was asked to say a few words about my own experience. So let me say that over the course of my career, I've done a few firsts. I was the first female division chief in the Middle East region of the World Bank. As you heard, the first female finance minister of my country, Nigeria, and the longest serving one at that, 7 years, the first female foreign affairs minister. But I wasn't aiming for these positions. My goal was service. That was what I was brought up to do by my parents, was delivering results for people, whether internationally or within my own country. In the process of doing that, I just wanted to do jobs that I liked or I was committed to. My advice to young women is to find something that you're passionate about. Look for roles that you like or where you feel a great deal of commitment, roles where you'll be able to make a real contribution. I should say here that some of the jobs I've had haven't always been fun. No one enjoys being a finance minister. Fiscal capacity is finite, so your job is basically to say no to everybody. No to your ministerial colleagues in the cabinet, and no to even your boss, the president. You have to be careful how many times you say no. At the same time, you have an enormous ability to make a difference, whether it's restructuring tens of billions of dollars worth of debt, or helping women farmers access financing to buy seeds and fertilizer, or young male and female entrepreneurs get a leg up in their business. In my current role as Director General of the World Trade Organization, I'm also a few firsts. The first woman, as you heard, and the first African. There's a little known fact. I'm also the first American. I'm to lead the organization dating back to its origin of 75 years. If you visit the WTO headquarters in Geneva, you will see a wall of men. So it's going to look very strange when my photograph goes up. But while it's nice to help the WTO break ground, what matters most to me is to be the best Director General for the Times. That is what I told members during the leadership race. I said, take the best, because these are challenging times, and the WTO needs a firm and steady hand ready to do reform. Because the world really needs a World Trade Organization that works, one that delivers on the goals set out in our founding agreement to use trade as a tool to raise living standards, create jobs, and promote sustainable development. Over the past generation, the trade-led growth made possible by open international markets underpinned by the WTO has helped to lift over 1 billion people out of poverty. But we should not be Pollyannish. People were left behind. Many poor countries were left behind, and poor people in rich countries, some did not benefit. Nevertheless, turning away from trade would not help solve problems of exclusion and would almost certainly make them worse. It would close off economic opportunities for the world's poorest countries, which need more integration into the global economy, not less. It would deal a serious blow to purchasing power for people at the bottom of the income distribution in the United States and other advanced economies. In the absence of the World Trade Organization, chaos would prevail in international economic relations. Can you imagine if in the multilateral trading system there were no rules? Any country could charge whatever tariff it liked. They could block their markets to your exports and imports at any time. That's a world of chaos. The prospect that export markets could slam shut at any moment would make businesses hesitate to invest and to hire. Instead of a system based on enforceable rules, we would move to one based on power. And even the powerful would be worse off. That's why we must resist the current pressures for global economic fragmentation and instead work to strengthen interdependence whilst avoiding overdependence on certain geographies or sectors, something that we witnessed during the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. The WTO is as important as ever to meeting the challenges of our time. Trade in medical supplies and vaccines was a vital factor in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, and trade will be a necessary part of preparing for future health crises. Trade is critical to solving the climate crisis. It has already helped drive down the cost of wind and solar energy, but there's much more WTO members can do to lower barriers for green goods and services and reform subsidies that encourage fossil fuel production and consumption. Trade in agricultural products will be indispensable for food security in a world where changing weather patterns turn yesterday's breadbasket regions into tomorrow's net food importers, and maybe vice versa. And trade can be a stronger force for socioeconomic inclusion, empowering women and bringing in people and places that did not share in the last wave of globalization, something we have termed re-globalization at the WTO. And if there's something I want you to take away today about the WTO, is that we want to reimagine globalization to be more inclusive of those who have been at the margins of the global system. This is what we are calling re-globalization. We have ongoing work in all these areas at the WTO. My goal there is to help members get this work of reform done and get to the finish line. It can be challenging at times. There are days when I've asked myself, are you a masochist? Why are you here? But I want to tell you something. I'm always excited to get up and go to work in the morning and get cracking. And I have this formula. If I want to get out of bed and run to work 70% of the time, then I know I'm good. I'm in a job I like. The other 30%, no one can doubt that it's not every day. By the way, for marriage, it's 80-20. 80% of the time, you have to look at the man next to you and say, yeah, it's all right. The other 20%, you can let it go. As the WTO and the multilateral trading system reforms, I just hope we can count on all of you for support. I love you all, your wonderful sisters. Thank you.